Hey guys, it's Jan, Not a Real Farm. So we're outside today trying to get a few things done before the rain starts coming in. I'm basically going to be clearing this bed off, basically taking everything out and putting in garlic today. But in order to do that, I have to go through my celery patch. So I'm slowly but surely trying to clear this out and making sure I don't get stung. But I'm looking in here and I see one or two wasps, but I don't really see a whole bunch on here today. It's actually very chilly outside, enough where I have to sort of wear a sweater. So I'm just going to be basically taking this out and crossing my fingers that I don't get stung. My husband is saying I'm very brave for doing this because he's had quite a few incidents this summer with yellow jackets, and they weren't fun. So I've managed to pull some of the celery out. Really big, beautiful leaves. It's going to be probably pretty intense, maybe even slightly on the bitter side, just because we got a little bit warm before I started cutting these, and now it's cold. But there are tiny, tiny, tiny little white eggs on the, if you can see here, if I can move this closer, on the leaves. And that was really what the wasps were feeding off of, and that's why they wouldn't leave. Now, today it's significantly colder. It's only 11 degrees Celsius outside, so it's enough for me to be in a sweater shivering. So they are moving really slow today, so I'm going to use that to my advantage and cut as much celery as I can. This guy is absolutely not happy that I'm cutting the celery. He's cold, so he's not moving too fast, but he is not happy. Still have the wasp over there watching me, look. This is going to be challenging. Making my way around, cutting around the celery so I can get it out. So I've pulled out some of these pepper plants that are sort of surrounding the celery over here in the garden. And as you can see, the celery is sort of grown all the way back through the peppers. So these guys are coming out anyway. But I just wanted to show you the roots of the pepper plants. Huge, beautiful, healthy roots. And I also have a lot of red wigglers in here too. I noticed that just the place where I picked out the peppers, there's a lot of red worms in here. So I have very happy soil. I'm going to be putting this red wiggler back in, I think. Very happy soil, very happy plants. And so could be the reason why it was such a successful year for growing plants. It's all in your soil. So red wigglers are a sign of, usually of healthy, great soil. I'm really happy that I got these raised beds. Like I said, they save not only on bending over and saving on your back, but you know, it allows you to plant so much in a condensed area. And I'm really, really glad that we ended up by saying, yeah, sure, let's get this. It made a big difference for gardening this year. Okay, let's keep going. Hopefully I don't get stung. It's so hard to say goodbye. I don't want to pick them because they were still developing peppers. But unfortunately, I only have about a week and a half, 2 weeks left before there's a frost, maybe even sooner. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, Pepper, you gotta go. So I'm still digging out around the celery, so you can see that the peppers here still, we're putting on peppers pretty much. But like I said, there's no point in leaving them in the ground. We might as well take what we can from them while we can before the frost ruins it. But once again, some really great roots, and I get a hot pepper out of it. There was tons of hot pepper still putting on in this plant, but it's unfortunately for outside, it's the end of the garden season. But this will also give you an idea, now that I've pulled out some of these plants, how much celery I actually planted here. So we have quite a bit of celery patches here. I planted them all together because it doesn't really get big. It grows more like an herb. So we're going to be just basically taking the celery by the base and cutting it there. Because the longer that I wait, as you can tell, this guy's ready to square off. So the longer I wait and the warmer it gets, the more chances I have of getting stung. So got to get this done. Okay, so we've successfully pulled out one bunch of celery. Now, like I said, this grows just like an herb, so you're not actually going to have it where it's thick like the ones you see in the grocery store, but the flavor is way more intense. So I've got this. We've got a big bunch of celery now happening. This is good. I'm making progress. So we're now starting to fill our basket. But this guy, of course, refuses to leave. So it's going to be me in a battle of a wasp here. So what I'm going to do is, this one's going to be left last. I'm going to go and take out this one. So at least we get that patch out of there. And then I just have the one last patch where I have to outsmart this wasp because he refuses to leave. So I've successfully gotten the secondary patch out. So I'm going to show you the roots on this thing. Healthy, happy, lovely roots. I'm really happy about that. There is a lot of celery here that I can process, so that's what we'll be doing over the rest of the weekend. And guess what, guys? Since it's our Thanksgiving, some of the celery is going to go into the stuffing. Just going to clean it up, cut the roots off, and away we go. Trying to see what branch he's on because he's just sitting there, guys. He's on one of the middle branches here, and I'm going to cut the middle branch and then slowly lift him up and away. He is on this branch. Not happy. So I've cut the middle branch here that he's on. Actually just scooped in underneath here and cut the middle branch. Ladybug is on here and he is on here. He refuses to leave. And it's good that it's cold this morning because that works in my favor. So now if I can just lift gently this branch. And away he goes. Okay, now I can get to this last patch. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but let's get this out of the way. So here's a little problem I wanted to point out that can happen in your celery patch besides having, yellow jackets invading it, is you can start to harvest your celery. And sometimes what you'll notice is you'll harvest a stalk and it's hollow. Let me just put this down. Remember we had that really long dry spell this summer. So what happens with celery is it does not technically really enjoy the heat. So what you may come across is sometimes you will have a celery that's actually hollow all the way down. So even though it looks really healthy and great on the outside, inside it just looks like a giant straw. And it'll be stringy, sort of hard. And that sometimes can also be a sign of either nutrients, but in this case, because we had such high heat and drought this summer, I'm going to say it's a sign of that. So if you ever come across this and you've had a hot summer, or things have been going on in the garden, if you've sort of ruled out that it's a nutrient thing and you have severely hot weather like we had and it's hollow, chances are it's a weather related thing. Has nothing to do with anything that you've done wrong yourself. It's unfortunately something that, we've all had an issue with. This one's not too bad, but there's the hollow hole in there. We had all that hot weather. So when it gets into the high 90s, and it was like that for a good month and a half to 2 months, celery just doesn't enjoy it. And unfortunately, this is what will happen to it if that happens. So I just wanted to share that with you. So if you pull out a bunch of, celery and you see it hollow, chances are it may not necessarily be something you did yourself. It's basically just us battling Mother Nature. So I got about this much celery, and the reason why I'm going to leave this in here is I've noticed that the wasps are actually nesting. I'm seeing some nesting happening, and not that I'm going to leave them there, I just don't want to get stung, but I am going to show you how far down the celery this wasp has actually moved. There's quite a few of them at the bottom of my leaves here. So first of all, they're starting to fly. Right, the weather's getting a little bit warmer, so he's not happy that I'm here. But if you look way in the bottom here, you can see that they are actually in the bottom of my celery. So it's not quite warm enough yet for these guys all to come out, but you can see they're taking a nap in here. And he looks dead, but he's actually alive. So be aware of that in your celery patch, guys. The wasps love celery. And just because you don't see them obviously on the top of the leaves doesn't necessarily mean they're not there. Because my celery has hollowed out due to probably the drought that we had and the heat, they've been hiding down in the celery here. So I just wanted to show you that. So I'm not going to be greedy. This is what we have for the day for celery. This big old basket of celery here, so I'm going to process that right away. Big, beautiful leaves. I love it. Like I said, some of it will be going in our stuffing this weekend for Thanksgiving, and then the other half of it I'll process in stews, or chances are I'll probably freeze dry it or dehydrate it, just so that I have, some fresh celery to throw into some soups or stews in the middle of winter. So pretty cool. Just wanted to share my celery adventure with you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed what you saw. Guys, if you could give a thumbs up at the end of the video, that would be great so it gets out into the algorithm. And as always, hopefully subscribe or see you soon.